Hello everyone, this is Sir Adrian again back here for the random events in our current game of Global War 1914 we're having, titled Operation Bersaglieri, where we will be heading into the fall-winter of 1915. So the random events were fine. I went ahead and added the 2 German submarines in port in Argentina and Chile. So there's that all set up, and I added the Italian infantry in Mezzogiorno. And while I'm on the Germans, aside from the Italians, if we go back to the Germans quick, I should point out quick, and this was already fixed in the TTS file, but the Germans this past turn forgot to garrison Warsaw by the end of their turn. So they had marked that they had 44 IPP. They in fact had 43. So with these 6 that they have to pay because of the random event where they get those 2 submarines, they will now be down to 37 IPP, which once again, we'll make sure that's all up to date in the TTS file. But the other big thing and reason why I wanted to make this video is I actually made a mistake regarding the Italian entry roll, and they actually will not be neutral and will be joining the Central Powers. I realized after I started adding the modifiers that it doesn't really make much sense to add the negative modifiers first. You're supposed to add the positive modifiers first and then subtract any negative modifiers. Yeah, otherwise that doesn't really make much sense. So if we go over things quickly again, as you've seen in the last video, the base roll was a 4. So that's what we start as our base and what we're working with. The Central Powers, as it says in the modifier section on the Italian National Reference Sheet, they get, well, so we'll start with the Allies actually. So they get +1 if Japan joined the Central Powers. That didn't happen. So +1 each falling turn. Italy is neutral. So Italy was neutral the last turn. So when we do this roll, there is a +1. So that brings us to +5 so far. We don't get the +2 because there's not less than 4 infantry units in Austria. So just bordering northern Italy. So still at 5. But we do get a +2, which would bring us to a grand total of should be 7, as there isn't any other modifiers. Those modifiers from those random events the past turn where each side bid for Italy don't apply. So a grand total of 7 because we were at a 5, but +2 because Italy or France is going to agree to lose a victory condition if the Italians were to join us. They were going to give them Tunisia. So the Allies have a grand total of 7, or they bring the Italian entry roll up to a 7. However, the Central Powers would bring it down by -3 because of the 3 cities that they occupy. So Warsaw, Smolensk, and Kyiv. Each one brings it down by -1. So that brings us back to 4. Then Japan joined the Allies, so that's a -1. So that brings us down to 3. Then they get -2 because they have 8 or more infantry units in Austria, so bordering northern Italy. So that brings it down to 1, and then they also get a -1, or they would also get a -1 due to the British-Italian rivalry random event, as I said in the last video, that was rolled quite a while ago because the British did decide to challenge the Italians. But you wouldn't count that -1 because the rolls are for entry rolls, just like when you're attacking and stuff like that, it's never going to go to a 0. So essentially, that does leave us with a result of a 1. And it's on a 1-2 that Italy joins the Central Powers and aligns to Austria-Hungary. So in this case, we're not going to go ahead and place a bunch of Austro-Hungarian roundels, you know, all over the Italian territories, even though it's aligned, because Italy is a special case. But yeah, so Italy does join the Central Powers and will be played by Laker. So once again, the war has expanded and taken on a whole other dimension entirely. So we'll see what that brings this time around as the Italians enter the war. And we will now hand things off to the Germans.